Welcome to another MPC 3.4 type tutorial video with the new A1. Thanks for joining. Let's get right to it. Today we're going to be talking about automation. Now real quick, when I talk about automation, I'm talking about recording the changes of different parameters that are on your track. So changes in volume, panning, if you got effects on there, changes in the different settings, moving the faders, moving the knobs, you can record those things and have them play out in different ways on your track. You don't have to have your track set statically one way. And I just want to show the very, very basics because it can get pretty advanced, but just the basics of how to find it in the MPC so you can start messing with it, and then you can go more in depth with it if you want. So now, one of the tricks with automation, and really automation is used all the time in production. It could be really, really subtle, or it could be really obvious. So one of the obvious ways to use it, I think, is for an intro and getting that crazy, high pass filter effect going. You're driving up to the stadium or the club, or some weird recording videotape is starting, and then you drop into the beat, cutting off that filter. So let me just show how I would do that as we show, just the very basics of automation in the MPC. So I got this loop here, right? Real funky, vaporwave like. Let me know in the comments if you like vaporwave. I'm throwing some of that at you soon. And I really like this loop. It's groovy. It's 8 bars, and then it just goes again. I've copied it a couple of times, and that's it. So what if I want to have, I already know I like this beat, I already have ideas going, but I need to tell that story in a way where somebody else might understand. So I want to insert a little intro in here somewhere, and have I want to insert the intro in here and then have it really crazy filtering stuff going on, and then cut that filter off so the beat will start. So before any automation, let's just go over a little bit of arranging. Let me insert this intro. Now I know in my sequence edit I need to insert bars. I need to insert the bars first before bar 1. 4 bars, because I know I want 4-bar intro, just that same first 4 bars that are already in my loop. And then I can go copy bars, and now my first bar is actually going to be 5 because 1 through 4 are the new empty bars. And then my last bar is going to be 8. I'm copying that after bar 0. 1 copy. So when it turns around there, I had a 32 bar sequence, now I got a 36 bar. So I got a 4-bar intro in there. But it sounds the same as the rest of the track. So I want to show you how to use automation so that I can let people know that that's an intro. So the main thing that I want people to take away from this video is how it's tied to the step sequencer and the grid. They pretty much get written the same way as MIDI events. So let's put an effect on this track that I have that's playing this sample. Find your effect, and I'm just gonna add this high pass filter sweep. This is all stock plugins. And then you hear it take effect there. But it's on the track the whole time. I'm not going to have it playing like this the whole time. So how do I bring it to where I can turn it off and on? Well, if you go to your grid, and yeah, that bottom section here really is your automation. So you can see a few options there, and your parameter, those are the different parameters you're automating. So you already have velocity and a few others. But if you go to add new, you'll see some more options. And you wouldn't see, I have insert one high pass filter sweep. You wouldn't see that until it's added. So once I have that, I have those parameters and I'm able to automate them. I add the enabled parameter. That just turns it off and on. And nothing's happening right now. And you could write the automation here on this screen, but I like using the step sequencer because that's where all your automation is going to be and where you can go in there and really make some good fine adjustments. So now I'm back in the step sequencer. In the parameter, same thing, add new. I can see that high pass filter sweep enabled option becomes available because I have that effect on the track. And the way I want to do this is, I know it's bar 1 through 4 that the intro is. So I enable it on bar 1, step 1. And then moving through my bars here in my sequencer, and it's okay if you can't follow along there, but I just move through the bars of the sequence myself in the sequencer. I can put the parameter down, that disables it. So I'm going to start the sequence over, and you'll see when it gets to bar 5, it should turn off that filter effect you're hearing. Like that. So right there, just a quick way to kind of, have something different for an intro. Now let me show you, going back to the main screen. In the top right corner, there's a white square. It's the automation button. If it's green with an R inside of it, that means read. It's reading automation. And if you press it, it turns red, and there's a W. That means you're writing automation, which is like recording your automation. You could also hit shift and step sequencer or automation to turn that off and on. I'm going to turn it on write mode, and I'm going to go to the effect that I have, the high pass filter sweep, and just play around with it during that intro. While it's enabled, I can record that automation that's going on that effect. So mess around with it a lot so you can hear the changes. Okay, and I found a bug here. It turns it on here, but if I go back out and go back, it turns it off. So don't be alarmed there, but all that automation I just did was recorded. If we watch it, go back to the intro, play it again, I could see it moving on its own. And go to the grid. In those parameters, now you see all those parameters I messed with, they're available now because automation is written. If I go to one, you can see it there. If I move through them, there's the low frequency I was moving. So that's everything I was doing with the automation. I pulled up some other stuff there, but this is where you can find those changes. And then same thing, step sequencer, same thing. High frequency, I move through the bars and I can see here, the different levels that I went through with changing that parameter. And here you can make some fine adjustments and stuff. It's not just binary theirs. So just note that in the step sequencer in the grid of the track that you added the effect on, you can then select the parameter and start recording automation. Let me get it back into read mode there real quick. Just want to show one more quick thing, because that's pretty much, the basics of it, but I want to look at this XYFX thing real quick. You've probably played with it a little bit. It's also right here if you double click. We insert effects, and note where the effect is inserted on outputs 1 and 2. We go to setup, and we have some cool, effects that we can apply to the entire output, not just one track. So this is on the whole output right now. So you could do your filtering thing with this instead of the sweep. But what I want to show here is just the tape stop effect. Conveniently, the automation button right there. You can see I can change it. I'm going to have it on right. And I want to put a couple of these tape stops in. Just to color things up. Doing something there, moving around. And I'm just doing random stuff so I can show it later. Right, so I just recorded all of that automation. If I play it again, I should hear it in the places where I recorded it. But for the XYFX, they're not on the track, right? So if I do what I did before and go to the step sequencer or the grid on this track, I'm not going to see the XYFX if I insert new or anything. So I was wondering, where is that? And it's actually on that output 1 and 2. And to find it, you need to move through these tracks here, go through the submixes until you find outputs 1 and 2, and then you can see the XYFX right there on the track. Then from here, if you hit the step sequencer or the grid, now you're actually on that output and can see the parameters on there. The XYFX, there's the enabling of it. Right, there's the enabling of the tape stop effects, and then it records where your x-axis is and your y-axis, so where you were on that grid. And then in the step sequence you can find it as well, but take note where that output is. So that's where the XY effects are going. Volume there. So all of that, you can find it in the grid or the step sequencer, the XYFX, if you go to the correct output 1 and 2. And then in my other track is where I see those parameters. So that's pretty much it. Additionally, you can pretty much automate anything. I'm gonna put write mode back on. I'm gonna come here to this amp envelope of the pad and you're not gonna hear anything different here, but I'm just gonna move it around. And then I should, when I go to the grid, pad, amp envelope attack, so my parameter shows me, and there's all that movement I was doing. And I can zoom in, adjust. You can write automation here, so play with that. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, let me know what you think of the video. If anything was a little confusing or whatever. Like I said, just the ABCs. Just remember, once you add an effect to a track, find it in the grid and parameter. Just add new parameter. You'll find the parameters of the effects you have. Write automation and find it in the step sequencer. So understand that relationship, the step sequencer, grid, with effects and automation, and you can do some cool stuff. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. This is the new A1. I'll see you next time. Peace.